Good morning, everybody. My name is Christina Davidow, and I am the chair of the Global Business Committee at NABOR. And we are here today to discuss a very important topic, lending for foreign nationals. I'm really excited about this. I'm a real estate attorney and I deal with foreign buyers and sellers all the time. And one of the questions that I get asked all the time is, what if my foreign buyers want to get funding? They need capital, and is it the same as it is for domestic buyers? And the answer is no. It's very different, and we have contacted 3 individuals from different parts of the market who specialize with different areas of the country and the world. And we're going to pose that question to them to see what they have to share with us. So first we have, I'll make some introductions. First we have Mauricio Ordóñez from Q Capital. And he is the president of Q Capital, the mortgage lender. He's the founder and president of the Q Capital Group Corp. He is originally from Colombia and graduated in architecture from the Universidad Piloto de Colombia, and he has more than 20 years of experience in the credit field, focusing exclusively on residential, commercial, and construction loans. He has been an exponent in several Latin American countries on investments in the United States, so I think that he knows exactly what he's talking about. So welcome, Mauricio. We thank you for your time and for being here. In addition to Mauricio, we also have invited Lou Gaetano, who is a loan officer for Fairway. And he's a senior loan officer and certified renovation loan specialist at Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. He began his career in 2000 and is licensed in both Florida and Connecticut. He is well versed in both real estate markets, both in Florida and Connecticut, and will match each client's needs with the most suitable loan program. So we welcome him too. He's actually not here yet. He has not joined our call. I imagine he's having technical difficulties, so we're going to give him a little bit of leeway, and hopefully he'll join the call before very long. I'm looking forward to what he has to share with us. And finally, we've invited Alan Forget. Alan has been working for Royal Bank Financial Group for 42 years, holding various business and sales leadership roles in Canada, in the Caribbean, and in the United States. He is passionate about helping Canadians purchase US homes and works closely with consumers, with real estate professionals, and other strategic partners to provide education and opportunity to Canadian buyers in the United States. In addition to that, Alan is a licensed real estate agent in Florida and has his NAR CIPS designation. Woohoo! CIPS designation. I love that. Which, of course, for those of you who don't know, who don't always deal with foreign buyers and sellers, it is actually a designation for Certified International Property Specialists. If any of our viewers have not had the opportunity to learn about that, I suggest that you do. In the past couple of years, I became a designee. It's kind of a substantial course, but it's chock full of information on everything having to do with foreign buyers and sellers. I walked out of there feeling like I had learned more than I had in a long time. My instructors were pretty great. So I encourage you to take it. We actually offer that through NABOR, and we will let everybody know through periodic emails that the course is coming up. So stay tuned for that. Finally, Alan holds a degree in finance and management and investment. Again, we're having technical difficulties with Alan, and we're hoping that he's going to be able to make it today. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our friend from Q Capital, Mauricio. We're going to start with you, and we're so happy to have you here. Thank you for sharing your time with us, and I'm going to let you take it away.
No, thank you, Christina, for having me, and it's hopefully I have a good connection, so thank you very much for having me. As you said, we're mortgage lenders. Q Capital's licensed in Florida, in Texas, Colorado, and New York. and we got offices around South America in 5 different countries, in Argentina, Mexico, Bolivia, Chile, and Colombia, and we're opening Peru by the end of this month. So we've been doing this. I've been doing this for the past 24 years. As you said, I'm from Colombia, and my other partner and founder is from Argentina. So we know basically what's going on in South America mainly, which are, I should say, 80% of our clients are from South America, buying properties in these 4 states that were licensed. And we know what's happening down there, and we bring them to the American culture. So we understand what an underwriter in the United States wants to see from them. Believe it or not, doing a loan to a foreign national is easier than doing a loan to us, to a US resident or an American. So it's basically putting together 5 different documents, which are very simple. We don't ask for tax returns. We don't ask for a credit report. It's basically 5 easy documents that every foreign national can give us. What an underwriter is basically looking for is they want to see liquidity. They want to see liquid assets, so cash in the banks. So this is the strength, financial strength of a foreigner in order to get a loan in the United States. We can go up to 75% loan to value in single family residence. Rates start from 3.5%, average it from 3.5% to 4%. And condos, we can go up to 70% loan to value. It's very important what's happening. There's billions of money, billions of dollars in order to lend to foreign nationals. Let's say Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citibank, they don't focus in foreign nationals. They only think about Americans. They only think about lending to the Americans. There's 53 different banks which we are subscribed with our lending license that we have. And they basically 80% of their portfolio is meant for foreigners. So they want to lend to foreign nationals. They have billions of dollars per year to lend to foreigners. So this is our niche. This is what I've been for years telling brokers down in South America and clients direct in South America and real estate brokers here mainly in Florida. It's basically teaching. I had to create a YouTube channel, an educational YouTube channel in Spanish that helps a lot of real estate brokers in order to promote themselves as well, and in order to let the South American people know that they can get mortgage loans. It's a very easy process. It's 5 simple documents. As I said, we don't need a tax return. We just need an accountant letter if you're self-employed, or if you're employed. We need your employer to state in a piece of paper how much money you make today, how much money you made in the past 2 years. So the process is simple. And whenever we tell this to any foreigner, they don't even believe me that, or believe my team, that it's so simple. They don't need to have nothing in the States. They don't need to have a bank account. They don't need to have credit. They don't need to have a visa to come to the United States. There's some programs after COVID, after pandemia, banks learn how to deal with foreigners in a more constant manner. One issue was, well, you have to come to the States to close. Now you don't have to come to the United States to make a closing. As far as you have a public notary in your country of origin, or whatever you are at the time of closing, we're able to send a closing package and close wherever you're at, as far as the title company allows to. Most of title companies, they're already used to close. It's not a run. Run is different. We need to send a complete package, and basically to have somebody, a public notary in our countries of origin in South America, to sign as they do here. So basically, it's a process of 5 simple documents. It's all about liquidity. They don't ask for much reserves. They just need to have the down payment, the closing costs and prepaid items, plus 12 months reserves of PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurances. It's similar to what requires to us when we buy investment property. To us, meaning Americans or US residents. That's the beauty about this country. A foreigner can get an investment property with the same rates that we can get as Americans. Obviously, we have better options when we buy our primary residence, but foreigners are basically treated as purchasing investment properties. This country needs the investment, the foreigners to invest. This administration has, the economists are saying that they need 50 million people from today to 2050 to invest in the States, to come and live in the United States. They need the foreign investors here in the United States. So that's why there are many banks lending to foreigners. Canada is the biggest market, obviously, with China. And then several countries in South America comes after them. So we're focusing in lending to foreigners from South America, even though we have many people from China. We're doing many loans in Orlando from people from China, and we're doing many loans from people from Canada, mainly in Miami. And the rest of South America, they're buying here, and they're buying in New York. So we are basically specialized and focused in lending to them and letting people know that they can invest in the United States with the American banks. As our previous president used to say, OPM, other people's money. So that's what we all have to tell the foreigners, that you can invest in the United States. If you don't have all the cash, you don't have to be really wealthy. You just need to have a little bit of liquidity in order to buy or invest in the United States. And because of what's happening in South America, what started happening in Cuba back in the years, it's starting to happen in several countries in South America. So they're pulling their money out from the country and they're bringing it here to mainly to Florida. And Mexicans are buying in Texas. That's what we also license in Texas. They're investing a lot of their money in Houston, mainly in Houston. So this is, in a couple of minutes, what every realtor can have access to in order to sell and make more sales to foreigners. So this is a little bit about Christina, about what we're doing. It's a simple process. I have a couple of tips that why a foreigner will not get an excellent program, an excellent rate. The number one tip is every foreign national and every realtor should advise foreign nationals that when they sign a contract, they're asking for part of the down payment. Whatever needs to be sent as part of the contract, the money needs to come from their bank accounts. If there's a Colombian or Argentinian, Venezuelan, from Canada, from China, it cannot come from a third party. It needs to come from their company or personal bank accounts. And we have solutions if it comes from third parties, but the rate is not going to be the same. So if your clients wants to have a rate between 3.5% and 4%, the number one rule is make sure your client sends the money from your personal or business bank accounts in their country of origin, or in any country, and wherever they have the money, they can send it from their personal accounts. If it's done through a third party, please let me know first, and I'll structure what to do in order to accept that money as part of the down payment. That's the number one rule. That's the number one tip. That's the number one mistake that foreigners and realtors make in not advising them in sending the money from their bank accounts. And the second, business is crazy. Everybody, realtors, sellers, everybody's doing a lot of deals, and banks are doing a lot of deals. We're very busy. Banks are very busy. So what used to be 30 days back a year and a half ago, now it's 60 days. Since we receive a complete package from a foreign national, which includes 5 requirements, it takes around 30 days to 40 days to get a loan approval, loan commitment, and another 15 days to close. So my suggestion is doing contracts not less than 60 days if your buyer needs to come with a mortgage loan in order to purchase the property. We do every type of property. We're financing a lot of construction to foreigners and to domestics. We also do domestic loans, obviously. We do every type of deal. And we're doing loans to foreigners that are buying a lot of commercial property all around the States. So we're doing also those types of loans, triple net, double net, simple leases, agreements, and we're lending basically a lot of money to them. So again, there's billions of dollars to lend to foreign national. Banks are packed with money because of the PPP. They were the ones who made a lot of money, and basically with the government's money helping the companies and individuals here in the United States, they charge them a lot of money to the government in order to structure said loans, and they have a lot of money to lend. So it's very important that you start promoting not only to Americans, but to foreigners, that they have a lot of appetite to come invest to the States, but they don't know exactly that they can get mortgage loans here. So, Christina, there's a little bit about what we can do. There's a little bit about what's happening today in the banking and the mortgage lending industry for foreign nationals. And again, there's plenty of money to lend them. There's a lot of appetite, and basically you can use whoever Spanish speaker. You can use my YouTube in Spanish. It's an educational channel. You can use the videos. You can put your branding. You can use all my social media if needed to. So we're here to help. We're here to make deals happen. And that's what I've been doing for the past 24 years, helping realtors and buyers. And go. Another thing to finish, what we're doing, I should say 40% of my business today, it's refinances. There's a lot of foreigners that bought properties back in 2008, 2010 with cash because they were so cheap back then. They bought them, and they have a lot of properties cash here. We're doing cash outs, refinance cash outs. We can go up to 60% of refinance cash out with rates between 3.5% and 4%. And they're using this money to go and buy another property here in Florida. So if you have clients that have properties for the past years, or maybe they have a small loan and the property is appraised good, we can go up to 60%. You can tell them to cash out in order to use that money to buy another property. So that's something that some of the realtors were working side by side. They're promoting their previous clients to pull money from their own properties to buy more properties here in the States. So again, Christina, thank you very much for having me. I'm here. Any question you may have, anything, let me know. I'm not the only one in the company. I have 32 different loan officers. I have offices in Argentina, again, in Buenos Aires, in Ciudad de Mexico, Mexico, in Bolivia, in Chile, and in Colombia. So if you have clients in these countries, I have people that can help you make the sale in attending them over there. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mauricio. We appreciate everything that you told us. We're so interested to learn even more. I wonder if you can stick around for a little bit so that we can ask some questions towards the end. I'd like to get through our panelist presentations, and then we'll ask some questions from the audience. I know that everybody's actually really excited. We've gotten a lot of questions already. So without further ado, here we have Alan Forget. You were able to join us. You were
Finally.
Good. Well, better late than never.
Sorry about that.
No problem at all. It happens. And actually, Mauricio gave us just enough time to have you sitting there and joining us. So that was perfect. It couldn't have worked out any better. So as you heard already, Mauricio was speaking on his area of foreign or lending to foreign nationals. And I know that you have your specialty is Canada. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about lending to Canadian nationals.
Thank you very much, Christina, for this opportunity. Good morning, everyone. And again, sorry for the technical issue. like Mauricio talked more about the southern countries of the US, I'm going to talk more about the northern border of the US. And I'm glad to join you this morning. So I don't know if Christina Cheyenne can just, or you can just upload the presentation. But what I would like to start with first is share with you how to be Canadian ready. Because on the next slide, as you can see, it is very important to understand your customers from the north of the border. And I know many of you, of course, in this beautiful Southwest Florida market have the experience to work with Canadians. What I want to accomplish this morning with you all is just to give you kind of an update and be more sensitive of some of the cultural issues related with COVID, of course, and the border closure and all that. So if we look at, again, be Canadian ready means that, you want to know what's going on north of the border, despite this border has been closed for a year and a half now. So RBC, we're the biggest bank in Canada. We are the most recognized brand after McDonald's, of course, but we are there as, of course, number one bank in Canada, the 10th one in North America, and in the top 15 in the world. So any Canadians will recognize and will relate to the brand of RBC. And we're here also in the US as RBC Bank USA, as many of you know. We are a cross-border bank and a national residential lender just for Canadians. So our specialty as a niche lender is to provide the US financing that those Canadians need to buy primary home, second home, or even one or two investment properties. And we're also here to help real estate professionals like you all to grow your business with Canadians. And we're proud to say that in 2020, we were one of the top 3 Florida business partner Florida Realtor Association, one of the top 3 global partner with the Government of Canada, the Consulate General, and of course, Monaco. So on the next slide, what I would like to share with you is the numbers that we are familiar with, because those are numbers from pre-COVID. The year before COVID started on March 2020, we've seen Canadians purchasing 9.5 billion in the US market, and half of that was actually invested in Florida. That was just above 18,000 residential transactions for an average purchase price of $517,000. So when we got the new numbers like a month and a half, 2 months ago from NAR, we have seen that Canadians still have purchased a lot of real estate in the Sunshine State, and this added up at 1.7 billion. Because despite that the border was shut down the year prior, and beside, of course, the fact that traveling was restrictions around traveling and all that, they still purchased 4.2 billion in the US. And like I said, 38% of that, 1.7 billion just in our neighborhood of the Florida state. So Canadians are still, getting very ready to come back into the market. And despite that, the restrictions of traveling and the border closed, they still purchase, a lot of them purchase virtually, or of course, did cross the border, but by flying instead of driving. So this thing is very important to understand, because what we have seen at RBC Bank as a national residential lender just for Canadians is we have in the last 6 months a record number of volumes of mortgage leads, pre-approvals, and everything related with the mortgage and US financing for Canadians. So what does that mean is Canadians are getting ready to come back. And you all know that the border, the land border is still closed until September 21st. We may expect to see still the border of the US side still closed for another maybe few months, but we know one thing, fall is there in Canada soon. Winter will come, and of course, hopefully within the next few months, we'll see the border fully reopen, not just to travel by plane, but of course to drive them down here, because we're going to see a lot of them coming back into the market. And we all know the challenges we have collectively in Florida with the shortage of inventory, and of course, all those multiple offer and bids on those properties available. So it's going to have a lot of opportunities for Canadians and for you all to find those dream home under the sun. And we know that Southwest Florida is a destination market for Canadians. So let's now move to the next slide and just share a little bit of an update on the currency exchange, because of course you all know that Canadians, they deal with Canadian dollars. So that means that over the last year and a half, since the COVID pandemic started, the Canadian dollar went down to 68 cents. So completely deep dive, went up, which means about 44% premium on buying $1 US. However, the good news is over this last, I will say 6-7 months, we have seen the Canadian dollar coming back to a more normal range at around 78 to 80 cents, which means more like the 26, 27, 28% exchange, which is much more realistic. And it's in line more with that average over the last 25 years that you can see on this chart. So the forecast from our economists for 2022 and the rest of 2021 is that the Canadian dollar should, unfortunately, weaken a little bit, compared with the US dollar in the next 6 to 18 months, going back to more like a 75, 76 cents range, which is more like what we had just prior to the pandemic. So I don't want to spend more time on this, but I wanted just to give you an update on how the currency is being dealt right now with the US dollar. The other thing too is you have to remember that Florida, despite that we have seen a significant increase year over year of our real estate market values, it's still affordable. And we know that the market like Southwest Florida, the beauty of this market, it's a wide range of price point. But for Canadians, the average is still around $500,000 purchase. Of course, we have clients who purchase a couple $1 million properties and others who bought just, a small condo at 200, 250. But the thing is, still, Florida is affordable for Canadians, because when you've seen also what happened in Canada in the last year and a half on the real estate side, the market went up for around 20 to 24% year over year. And they have experienced the same shortage of inventory and all challenges, of course, that you may have experienced here. So really what is important to understand is for us, the market, for Canadians, this market still has a lot to offer. And of course, we all know about the weather, the lifestyle, and everything else that Southwest Florida can offer to those Canadian buyers. But beside that, from an ROI and of course, long-term investment standpoint, is very compelling. As you know, more or less a 2,000 square feet home, single home in Toronto or GTA is about $1.2 million Canadian, so about $1 million US. So for them, when they can see what they can buy under the sun here, this makes it very, very affordable. So next slide is just quickly about an example of why Canadians should consider to use a US mortgage instead of paying cash. And we know this market is very competitive. So this is why it's important for them to understand what their options are to mitigate the impact of the currency exchange. Like I said, the dollar, the Canadian dollar, is back to the 626, 27, 28 range, but it's still, every $100,000 means that it's still about $27,000, of exchange when they bring you Canadian dollar to US. So this example has been done on an average rate of 76 cents, showing a purchase of $500,000 with, of course, the closing costs if they go for the financing on the right side, which is obviously also the down payment plus the closing cost. So with 20% down for a second home, if they finance 80% of the value of the property with a US mortgage, with RBC Bank USA, for example, they can save a significant amount of money, like you can see here on the right, bottom right, which is really, when you compare the exchange on the down payment and the closing cost, so the net is about $124,000. So, and the beauty of the US mortgage, as we all know, is our mortgage are fully open. So at any time, if the Canadian dollar bounce back to $1 with the US dollar, or let's say close 96, 97 cents, like we've seen about 5-6 years ago, Canadians can just repay in full their the mortgage they have with RBC Bank without prepayment penalty. And as you know, in Canada, they cannot do that more than 10% of the principal. So let's just move to the next one. And now just a quick overview of the two programs we're offering to Canadians. Primary or secondary home on the left side, like I said, it's 20% down. Every products like single family home, condo, townhomes, we can finance. We're also the preferred lender for many major builders that are all in your market, like of course Lennar and Mattamy and few others. Of course, that is really to show that the value we can bring is to make it more appealing for Canadians to get financing, to get their ducks straight and understand what their options are. So with that, we're offering 30-year amortization loans and also terms of 3, 5, 7, 10 years. And for them, really, right now, interest rates are historically low for us. I mean, dealing with Canadians, the rates range right now from 2 7/8 for a 3-year term up to 3 3/4 for a 10-year term. So really very compelling again from a historical standpoint. And like I said, we can also refinance, as Mauricio mentioned. We had a lot of our wealthy Canadian clients who bought, and when at the perfect storm, when the Canadian was close to par and the market dipped down in 2009-10. So a lot of them have been using their equity and pull out some equity. So we did a lot of refinancing last year. But right now, what we've seen in 2021 is they are getting ready with pre-approvals, and they are really looking forward to re-enter the buying market. So we, of course, as a primary bank and lender for Canadians, we don't charge foreign national premium. And really, if we look at the investment property, remember that I said residential lender. So we're not really providing financing if somebody wants to buy 4, 5, 6 investment property like condos and all that. We're not a commercial residential lender, but we provide 1 or 2 maybe properties like a second home or an investment property to them, which will require 25% down if it's a pure investment, meaning that they buy the property, they rent it out all year long. Of course, that will require, and the rate on the investment property will be about 1% more than the second home. However, remember that the second home, meaning that they can still rent the property while they're not using the property. So for example, as long as they use the property for 2 months during the year, they can rent seasonally while they're not coming here and generate some US, of course, rental income on this property to cover the cost of course, taxes, property taxes, and of course, insurance, and obviously servicing the debt. So with that, I'd like now to just move to the next slide, and we're going to wrap up with that. But just briefly, RBC Bank, basically, we qualify our Canadian clients based on their Canadian credit history. Our team of mortgage professionals only work with Canadians, so they can explain to them the differences basically between getting a mortgage domestically in Canada compared to getting a mortgage in America. And of course, we know that's a lot of differences. So for example, I mentioned the prepayment penalty in Canada. You cannot repay more than 10% principal a year without the prepayment penalty. So with the flexibility that we offer, getting US financing mitigate the exchange conversion at the purchase is of course one of the benefits of that, and also the fact that in Canada they can get a mortgage within 7 to 10 days, while here we know it takes 30 to 45 days usually. So there's a lot of education and a lot of resources that the Canadians need to get from the get-go to get a good experience. So with that, on the next slide, what we've done, and we're going to conclude with that, is just a quick mention of, on this side is the, what we developed is it's a digital tool or hub for real estate professionals, and it's called Edge. And we're very proud of that. We built that about 2.5 years ago, and we pull a lot of tools, resources, educational content for real estate professional. It's completely free. You can sign up at rbc.com/Edge, and you get access to all those digital tools, resources, and information, educational. So you can repurpose or use that into your social media, can share with your client from Canada, can send that with your newsletter, put that on your website. And this also includes, if we look at the next slide, it does have a menu of those tools and resources that you can see on that next slide, which also include an e-guide. The e-guide is really something that is educational. It covers a lot of holistic issues of buying US real estate by Canadians, not just from a financing standpoint or real estate standpoint, but also legal, tax, estate considerations. So it is really important for you that understand that all those tools, resources are available for you and your clients to really help you to educate your Canadian buyers. So I don't know if we can move to the next. Yeah, and just a brief overview of the tools, and of course the link for pre-approval, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But one thing is very important. As you know, Canadians ask a lot of questions, and of course, where you are real estate professionals, your expertise in real estate. So when they start asking questions on how should I own the property, should I put the kids on property, what should I do if I rent, all those legal, tax, estate questions, then we have a team of external experts that you know many of them already that have been really great partners over a long time for RBC Bank as well. So we really build this network. So meaning that those Canadian buyers can access those resources. And many of them are offering courtesy consultation because of the relationship we have with them for over 15 years. So that is really value add, and we want to be resourceful for you and helping you to grow your business with Canadians. So this is an example of what you see there available for you, using that with your Canadian clients and helping you to move forward with those opportunities to close deals, more deals with Canadians. So the next slide is just really to conclude just briefly on pre-approval. You know, this competitive market is very important for them to get pre-approved, and I said pre-approved because for within 2 to 3 days, it's only they can do that online. It's very simple, 5-6 questions. It's stated. This is for the pre-approval letter, which is good for 120 days. We pull the credit history for that process. We provide the letter so they can set their budget. They know what to expect, and they work with you to develop the best buying strategy as possible within those conditions of the market of low inventory. So really what we feel is also important. So a lot of Canadians right now are getting those pre-approval letters. They are setting up their budget, getting their information on the legal, tax, estate side, the financing, currency exchange, and they just ready to start working with you all to make it happen. So stay tuned on that because we're going to see this big red wave of buyers from Canada in the next few months, more and more. And as soon that land border reopen, you're going to see them, especially getting close to the winter in few months. Of course, they can always talk with one of our mortgage professional at this number, 1866. But the most important to start with, the first step is truly getting pre-approved, getting the letter. And the beauty also of the people who don't still want to travel, we can do mail away closing in Toronto and all over Canada when they're buying the property, as long as they have a legal witness to sign the document, so we can facilitate that as well with the pandemic, which is also a good feature for them and benefit because it doesn't have really to travel across the border for them for the closing. So I will just end with that, the contact information from me directly. You can feel free to reach out to me directly. Many of you, of course, know me already and I know you, so feel free, and then I'll direct you to the right resource or the right internal partner or external partner, but we're there to help you grow your business with Canadians. Thanks again for the opportunity. Back to you, Christina.
Thank you so much, Alan. I appreciate that. Wow, it's so interesting to see two folks operating in similar spheres and how differently it actually happens. I think, you know, it's interesting to see your cross-border, your setup. And then contrast that with, I guess, the way that Mauricio would operate. And I have a question to that. We only have a couple minutes left. And in fact, this has been 45 minutes since we've started the session. So if anybody needs to leave, feel free to go ahead and exit. But for those of you that want to stick around and hear some Q&A, please feel free to do so. So my question to you is, in the different spheres that you operate in, do you need to be present in the United States to engage in the loan process? And Mauricio, I'm going to go to you first. What are your thoughts on that? Can your clients be over abroad? Do they have to be here on US soil? How does that work?
That's the beauty about this country, about banks in the United States. You need to be here, and basically what you need to do, obviously, it's comply with whatever we need from the client. And if they cannot come to the United States because COVID in their country of origin, it's been tough to leave the country. The only thing they need to have is access to a public notary in wherever they are at in order to sign all the bank documents. So to answer your question, no, they don't need to be here. And there's no excuses basically to do deals today in the United States. So there's no COVID, there's nothing here, no excuses to do any deals here.
Right. Great. Well, thank you. Alan, I feel like your situation would be a little bit different because you guys set out already to be cross-border. How would you answer that question? Do you need to be present in the United States?
Yes, and Christina, the same answer. No, they don't have to. And of course, as we've seen, 1.7 billion was purchased by Canadians last year in Florida only. So they did, a lot of them, they did that virtually and without traveling. And some of them, they came, of course, they flew here and found the property and got the closing done remotely, mail away closing and everything across the border. So for us, we're a digital bank to start with. So we don't have brick and mortar. Our team is centralized in North Carolina. They get application from Canadians all over Canada. Everything is done online or of course over the phone. And we built a system that make it also very seamless for Canadians to get pre-approval. It's a simple link, 5 questions, get the pre-approval letter, print the letter, come to Southwest Florida and start working with our real estate professional. So we try to make it as easy as possible for them remotely, but we want at the same time to be resourceful and provide all those tools, resources, and solution in a very efficient way.
Okay. Now to kind of dovetail on that, tell us about RBC. Does RBC make loans in Canadian dollars that later need to be converted to US dollars, or is it directly in US dollars?
It is directly in US dollar, because remember that RBC in Canada is a big lender, the biggest bank. So they provide mortgages in Canadian dollar for Canadians in Canada for their domestic Canadian purchase. But for the US, RBC Bank is a very niche lender just for Canadians, and we provide mortgages only in US dollar.
Okay, great.
And I should mention though that also, sorry, Christina, but I should mention that RBC in Canada can also help Americans to finance Canadian properties. If Americans are looking to buy properties in Canada, they have a foreign national program there, but this is RBC Canada. RBC Bank here in the US mortgage for Canadians.
All right, terrific. Thank you. Thank you for that distinction too. Mauricio, how about you? What is your experience in terms of currency? Do your lenders, do you see them making loans in US dollars or in foreign currency?
Everything is done in US dollars. Title insurance requires loans to be done in US dollars. So everything is in US dollars.
Okay, that's good to know. Let's see, what else did I personally want to know? You know, I close deals with mortgages all the time. And I'm interested in the closing table. Tell me about the types of ID that are needed from the foreign nationals. Is it, you know, can they use foreign, you know, what types of ID is acceptable?
Go ahead,
Alan first. Go, Alan.
Oh, sorry, Mauricio. Yeah, I mean, the standard, remember that, of course, RBC being the biggest bank in Canada, we have about 15 million clients in Canada, and Canada population is about 38 million. So we have a good market share there. So a lot of them are already our clients, domestically speaking, north of the border. However, we will still, for US regulators, obviously, we have to document our file with, passport or, of course, their driver's license and those usual ID, and the list of the documents they need to provide to document, of course, their request for the application. Just for full application, we provide a full list of documents, which 2 years, of course, of tax return and the last 2 months of the last 2 pay slips and things like that. So really what we said is we have to document our file here, despite they are high value clients in Canada, because we are in America, we are a US lender, and we have to comply with the regulators. So we're very, but when they get the pre-approval letter, everything is stated and it's done, like I said, within a few days, which is a very seamless way to get their letter.
Absolutely. Thank you. Mauricio, what is your,
Back to you,
your thoughts on that?
Mauricio, sorry.
It's also 2 IDs. It can be passport and visa. If the visa is expired, they need to show a second ID, like driver license and the country of origin. So it's only two IDs what a bank will require you to do the closing list.
Okay, and they can be foreign documents, so it doesn't need to be a U.S. passport or a U.S.
Foreign,
driver license.
all foreign documents.
Okay, great. That's good to know. All right, now I know that there's some questions from the audience too. I'm not going to take you guys your time with my questions, even though I'm interested. First of all, Cheyenne, can you hear me? The folks would like to know whether we can share the presentation for the speakers and their contact information.
So I know we had one presentation from Alan. If he gives me permission to send that out, I'd be happy to. And Mauricio, if you had anything that you wanted me to send out, just email it on over to me and I'll get it out to our attendees.
You bet I will. I have my YouTube channel that you can use. It's basically educational in Spanish. Only it's different. So it's Mauricio Ordóñez, like my last name. Instead of the N is an ñ, like in South America, and the C. So you can go Mauricio Ordóñez and you find me there.
Give us the shortcut keyboard stroke. How do we type the ñ?
Alt 164.
Ah, there you go. Thank you. Tell us, Alan, we know that you're with RBC. Mauricio, tell us the name of your company again. Some folks would like to know the official name.
You can go to my website, which is qcapital.com, qcapital.com.
Okay. We have another question. Are you able to help investors from Brazil?
Every part of the world. And the beauty about this is that even though the political situation in the country, wherever they are from, we have a solution for them. So let's say Venezuelans, which it's a little bit, there's no many lenders lending to Venezuelans. We do have options for Venezuelans and Brazil as well. We got Brazilian speakers in my team. So yes, we do from every part.
Okay, great. Now, the last thing I'm going to ask you to do is, and I'll ask the audience to grab a pen and paper because I know everybody wants the contact information. Alan, will you please give them your email address so that they can jot it down real quick?
Sure. And actually, Cheyenne said that she can share my presentation. The last slide is my contact information, but briefly, my email address is Alain, ALAIN, .forget, like forget, @rbc.com.
Thank you, Alan. And Mauricio, can you please tell us your email address?
Yes, I will. But first of all, WhatsApp works for me better than emails and text, which is my phone number is 305-785-8723. 785-8723, my WhatsApp. My email address, MOR as in Robert, D as in David, O, N as in Nancy, EZ as in zebra, @qcapital.com. Remember, QKAPITAL.com. I have my personal assistant, which is Lorena. Then I can forward you her contact in case you can't find me. She will. And obviously I have a full team of processing team behind me, loan officers, and I'm not the only one in the company. So there's plenty of people that can help in case you cannot get in touch with me.
Awesome. Well, thank you, gentlemen, so much. This has been really great. I look forward to hearing from you guys again. I hope you'll be friends of NABOR and the Global Business Committee. We'll be calling on you again. We appreciate everything that you shared with us. And I know that I'm certainly leaving here with more information than I came into this seminar. So thanks again. You guys have a great day. And thank you to the audience for taking the time to educate yourselves. We appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a great day.